Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Gananaham Sva Ganapatikum Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anas Pranvan Utibhisi Dasadanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Bhagvajinivati Dhinama Vitrayavatu Ganesaya Namaha Saraswatyai Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sumukascha Yekadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakaha Lambodharascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha Dhumaketurganadhyakshaha Palachandro Gajananaha Vakratundaha Surpakarno Herambaha Skandapurvajaha Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Sativarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyaye Sarva Vignopasantaye Yasyadvinadavaktradhya Parishadhya Parastatam Vignam Nignanti Satatam Vishvaksenam Tamasraye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheswaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. With Swami's grace, let us continue from our last session. We came up to Sutra number 42, but let's do a quick recap so that to appreciate the message that is being taught. Let us go back to Sutra number 28, where he says, Yoga Anga Anushthanate Suddhikshaye Jnana Deepiraha Viveka Khyate. What that sloka means. When you practice the various limbs of yoga, then all the impurities get removed. Then, once the impurities get removed, then the spiritual vision opens to the indweller, to the light-giving knowledge that is present within. Exactly what happened to Narada, as we were seeing that in Bhagavatam, right? When the rishis blessed him and removed all his impurities. Now, what are the limbs of yoga? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, right? So, not doing evil things, not doing bad things, not harming anyone. And that is Yama. And having discipline, that is Niyama. And posture, the way we carry ourselves, the way we carry our body, and the way we sit, that is Asana. And Pranayama is generally taken to be breath control, the control of inhaling and exhaling and retaining breath. Withdrawing mind from the sense objects, Pratyahara, and the concentration is Dharana, meditation is Dhyana, and dissolving in the oneness all around, that is Samadhi. They are the 8 limbs. Now, Yama is Ahimsa, not hurting anything. Satya, truth. Asteya, not stealing. Not stealing means just not only being a robber or a thief, but seriously, we got to conduct ourselves in a way we don't take anything that really belongs to others. Not stealing. Then following Brahmacharya, which is celibacy, and then Aparigraha, very important. The Aparigraha is translated as being lack of greed. That's one way of looking at it. The other is to not grab anything. One thing is to steal things from others. The other is what we call as self-aggrandizement, pushing ourselves in front of everyone and so that we benefit. That is grabbing somebody else's opportunity or chance or whatever. That also we should not do. So the 5 things that make up Yama are Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, and Aparigraha. They must be practiced regardless of who we are in life, what so-called lineage that we belong to, what scholarship we have, where we live, and what time of the day or night it is, or the samayam is very important. The appropriateness of any given situation, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, this yama must be practiced, out of which hurt never. The very first one, ahimsa, will take care of everything else. Ahimsa. Okay, Satya and Ahimsa, they're all one and the same. Their aparigraha is the same. Once you follow one, then automatically other things you'll find they also reveal themselves from within. Now, the niyama is what is niyama? What are the 5 things that constitute niyama? Saucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyayam, and Isvara Pranidhanani. And that is purity of mind and body, and Santosha, very contented mindset. Tapas, purification of mental agitations, and Swadhyayam is study and practice of what one studies of the scriptures, the teachings that the elders have given us, and Isvara Pranidhanani, loving God exclusively. These are niyama. There are 5 things that constitute niyama. 5 for yama and 5 for niyama. Now, when we have difficulty wanting to sit in one place and think of Bhagavan, which is Isvara Pranidhanani, is Karma Yoga, and there's so many obstacles come. So when mind goes all over, at that time we must think exactly opposite thoughts. To, like when we feel down, when we feel sad, we must think happy thoughts. That kind of a thing is what very important. That is called Pratipaksha Bhavanam. Then there are many obstacles come. Why do they come? Sometimes we are violent, sometimes we speak the untruth, and sometimes we think bad of things, right? And why do these things come? And they can come, suddenly. They can come indirectly, lingering, or some situation may be that we may be compelled to do something that really results in that so-called approved actions, approved by others, approved by society, or whatever, right? And not all the things that society does is dharma. So we have to show dharma with our conduct according to the scriptures. And so the anger comes, greed comes, self-interest is always there predominantly, and some people are mildly selfish, some people are very strongly selfish, right? So many things are there. All these things, whatever it is, they happen, constitute only misery and sadness, and it comes out of ignorance. And analyzing the thought process like this, we can train ourselves, discipline ourselves to think of the opposite thoughts. Sometimes when we think of violent behavior, immediately we must analyze this happened because of this. So let me do exactly the opposite way. Then, when I follow ahimsa, when I focus on not harming anyone, then people cease to be all the environment, and not only people, but all the other things that wherever you go, your environment that it surrounds you, that rather you create around yourself, that becomes lack of enmity. So everything feels that lack of enmity towards your presence when you follow ahimsa, right? When somebody practice ahimsa, how can he be his enemy? How can he even think of doing himsa to him? It's not possible. So the enmity becomes absent in his presence. Then if you practice Satya, I'm going to speak the truth, I'm going to conduct myself in Trikarana Suddhi, along those lines, then we get the power, and from that power, the results of good deeds that are being showered on us by Bhagavan, that power you get, not only for your action, but also for other action. When you go to a good person who follows Satya all the time, Kanchi Paramacharya, somebody, and he blesses you, then he brings, the results of good deeds that happen to you, right? And Maharishis, that's why we seek them. And they have that power because of the Satya that they practice, right? That they resort to, that they hang on to. And Brahmacharyam is, in a common sense, we say, okay, we practice celibacy, the abstaining, and then all wealth comes to you. When you we get spiritual energy from that. Okay, when you are devoid of greed, like when there is no aparigraha, we control ourselves with discipline. All this can be done by oneself. It's not impossible. And when I refrain from greed, aparigraha is very important. Follow that as a yoga, for example. Then I get to know what happened in the past, the present, and you get glimpses of what happens in the future. Really, you find that there is no past, present, or future. Just basic scenery, that's all. And that happens in life. It's just constant, all the various scenes that have to be enacted. And then when you follow these 5 things, this is the key that I wanted to start with before we proceed today. The reason I did a summary is this yama is just not a word. And when we talk of Patanjali Yoga Sutra and people say yama, niyama and all that, no. Those are all just words. But we must go into what does it actually mean, what does it signify, how it is part and parcel of one's life. So these 5 aspects, ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, and aparigraha, right? One of these 5, if I take up and follow it sincerely and diligently, all the others come in. The result of that is purity, saucham, which is the first aspect of niyama. That's how you progress. You do one of the 5 of yama, automatically it moves you into the next step, right? The next limb. So the saucha, when the purity, how does the purity come in the mind when you follow Satyam all the time? Automatically I become, right now we're all so much attached to our body, right? How we look, and we do so much makeup and all these things and we don't take care of our mind. And so when the mind starts becoming pure, there is a certain discord, a certain abandon. Abandon means not abandon, but certain a non-concern, an unconcerned with the body itself. You still take care of your body as a tool, as an instrument, but nothing beyond that. You're not attached to the various parts of the body. You're not attached to the physical pleasure. You're not attached to the sensual pleasures. So those things, they cease to attract you. It's amazing when that happens. And when that happens, with that purity that has now descended on one's mind, one becomes as cheerful in the mindset. Cheer that is born out of the confidence that Bhagavan is taking care, that everything is in order, that contentment comes in, the prasada buddhi comes in. So that comes from purity of thought. Immediately, the niyama thing, saucha, and santosham comes in, the cheerful attitude. And from that comes the power of concentration, the ability to focus on any given thing. And then sense control comes out of that automatically. And then one becomes fit to receive the vision of the Atma. So with santosham, with a contented mind, one gains supreme happiness, sukha labha. They're all seeking sukham. They're seeking that in the wrong way, in the wrong place. Okay? And it's a simple thing to get sukham, as our common wisdom is. Anybody knows, right? When you're contented on something, automatically you're happy. And that happiness that comes from sukham cannot be described. And that has to be strengthened and strengthened and strengthened in one's life. Okay, sukham is, Bhagavan says repeatedly, what is good for you, I give. And I know when to give, how to give, what to give. Be happy with what I give. Whatever you have is my gift. Whatever you don't have is also my gift. So, and we value things in life when we lose them. So let us learn to value them while we have them. There is infinite blessings that we have every moment of the day. Okay? So that we start looking at it like that, santosham comes in, contentment. Bhagavan, you have given me enough. Whatever you give is enough. So santosham is important. So once the santosham comes, from there, sukha labha. So that is 42. Santoshat Anuttamaha Sukha Labha. 43. Kaya Indriya Siddhihi Asuddhik Kshayat Tapasaha. Kaya Indriya Siddhihi Kaya Indriya Siddhihi Asuddhi Kshayat Tapasaha. Kaya Indriya Siddhi Asuddhi Kshaya Asuddhi Kshayat Tapasaha. So when I start into the action of purifying my internal thoughts and agitations, the abhilashaigal, as we say, we're all slaves of our mind. Mind does, so we're not even able to sit constantly at one place, right? We're not able to think of one thought for even 1 minute, because the mind takes us to different places. Suppose once I start getting the ability to focus the mind through the 5 steps or one of the 5 steps given in Yamaha, and I become Suddhi, the Saucham, the purity, then what happens? Kayam, Indriyam, Siddhihi, Asuddhi Kshayate. My body, my senses, and my Siddhihi, all my sankalpankal, all my ambitions, the internal pulls that I have to do things, to not to do things, whatever we have, that Siddhihi, Asuddhi Kshayate, all the impurities become eliminated. And eliminating those impurities is a result of tapas. Kayendriya Siddhihi Suddhi Kshayat Tapasaha. 44. Swadhyayat Ishtadevata Samprayogaha. Swadhyayat Ishtadevata Samprayogaha. Swadhyayat. Now, take any of the infinite teachings that our elders have given us. It can be Bhagavad Gita, it can be Vishnu Sahasranam, it can be Venkateswara Prabhadam, it can be any slokam that you like. It can be simple, Sri Rama Rama Rameti, whatever we want, and we swadhyaya, listening to that and understanding that message clearly, with clarity. This is very, very important. And this is a place where most of the people, most of us fall prey to the various tamashas that goes on. People come and give upanyasam and all that, only confuse the people. Okay? And people also, message does not come through with clarity. The clarity is very important, and that can happen only through smaranam, and what you hear, you reflect on that. It doesn't matter from whom you hear it, right? But you must understand it yourself, not what message that somebody gives you. That's when the clarity comes, because it comes from within. It comes from when the internal Bhagavan present within each one of us. When he teaches you, he will show you the pathway, the clarity. Once the clarity comes, then Bhagavan pulls back, waits to see whether you actually practice it. Only sva adhyayam. Only when you, adhyayam means to practice, and sva means by self. So only when you practice what has been taught, after understanding that clearly, not in a confused way, that Bhagavad Gita also says, wrong understanding gives a wrong result. But you must understand that with clarity and then start practicing it. When you practice it, you validate on a personal basis the truth of what has been taught to you. That is the beauty of that. And when that happens, when you swadhyayate, ishtadevata, whatever form of God that you love very much, and that samprayogaha, you become one with it. Swadhyayate ishtadevata samprayogaha. 45. Samadhi siddhihi Isvara pranidhanate. Isvara pranidhanate. When I love God, it could be the Ishtadevata. That's what first you start with the form. But you love it so much more and more and more. The pranidhanate, love it exclusively. It starts first with a mixed love. The selfish love doesn't matter. But then the moment you start loving it more and more and more, and then totally and exclusively, that you become samadhi, is samadhi itself. You become one with it. The formless actually opens up to the form. The form that you worship actually opens up to the formless, and you become one with it. That is what happens with Isvara Pranidhana. So samadhi, Isvara Pranidhana. Okay. That is the only panacea, is to love God. And that's the only message from all the scriptures, whether Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, doesn't matter. That is the only message, is to love God. And that is why Bhagavatam is so powerful, because that gives the essence of that message. 46. Stihi asukam asanam. Okay. Actually, stihi sukham asanam. Stira sukham asanam. Stira, not stihi. That's where the problem. Okay. Stira sukham asanam. Stira sukham asanam. Stira, firm. Sukham, relaxed, comfortable. Asanam, posture. Posture should be firm, should be comfortable, should not be rigid, but should be firm and comfortable. Okay? So now he is describing the Anganga, the Yoga Anganga, right? Ashtanga Yogam, one by one, the Rishi is teaching us. First, he took us through Yama and described that in detail. Then he described to us how from Yama one graduates to Niyama, right? And then he says, fine, this is what's going to happen. Isvara Pranidhana, you will do. But to do that, you've got to practice Asana. That's the next one that comes. And what is Asanam? Asanam is a posture that is firm and at the same time it is relaxed. Most of us carry very poor posture. We don't know how to carry our own body, sit or stand or walk, right? So that's why we run into lots of troubles. So asanam must be, that's why the Rishi is taking us in detail. So it should be, the first thing he says is, your posture should be firm but relaxed. Firm and relaxed. Then 47. Prayatna Saithilya Ananta Samapattibhyam. Prayatna Saithilya Ananta Samapattibhyam. Now, how do I get a posture that is firm at the same time it is relaxed? Okay? How does it happen? Samapattibhyam. When I start meditating, focusing, concentrating on Bhagavan, on the infinite, on the selfless love that is within me, and also the Saithilya Ananta Samapattibhyam. The Prayatna and Ananta Sama, we can take it that way. Prayatna Ananta Sama. The Prayatna means to take effort. Take effort to what? Take effort to control the Ananta, the various things that the body and the mind that keeps on doing all the time. When I start controlling the so-called natural tendencies of the body and the mind. The body wants to do many things, and the mind keeps on moving all about. But why? We saw that it is those three tendencies of nature, the gunas. So when I start focusing on the gunas, which actually pull and push me all the time, and could you kindly make sure that all of you have muted at your end? So when the progress is, we have to take effort, and you can mute by pressing star and 6. The way to do that, see, you start with the tamas has to be subjugated by through taking rajasic action, which is common sense. If you're lazy, what is the solution for that? Is to be active. And when you misunderstand someone or something, what is the counter to that? is to put the rajasic tendency in and say, no, don't misunderstand. Then once we find that we're always tense and high-strung and doing all the activities that we do and all that, how to do that is to balance it out. So sattvic tendency is the one that is used to subjugate rajasic tendency. So through controlling the various, also practicing to concentrate and focusing on the infinite. When you start doing this, the posture automatically becomes very relaxed, very natural, just like a newborn baby here. It is so relaxed, isn't it? Even though you might see its hands and feet and all that, they may seem very tense, but they are not. It's actually very relaxed. So first, that's what we have to do. Start controlling the tendencies from within. Prayatna, Saikilya, Ananta, Samapatvidhyam. 48. Tato, Dvandva, Anabhitataha. Tato, Dvandva, Anabhitataha. Interestingly, when I start the asanam after yamam and niyamam, now I'm getting stronger and focus on my posture. How do I carry myself? How do I walk? How do I sit? Right? All these things start coming in. What happens? The various opposites that happen in life. There is the pleasures and the pain and the successes and the failures, right? And the achievements and the disappointment and the humiliations and the praise. Whatever happens in life, okay, anabhitasa, you become unconcerned. They do not bother you. They really do not bother. They happen, they come and go. They come and go, right? There is no reason to be immediately too much excited when some good thing happens and too much down and quite depressed when things don't go one's way. Right? They happen and they pass. Everything passes in life and finally passes away. So tato dvandva anabhitataha, automatically that mindset comes. This mindset also comes. Remember, these are all not as if one step to another. These are all revelation or manifestation of what is within oneself. Various aspects of what are the things that are being manifested. If I practice santosham, the moment I get contented mind, how will I be bothered with whether it is success or failure? How will I be bothered if it is humiliation or praise? Because you're always thinking, oh, this is also Bhagavan's grace. Bhagavan is doing it. Swami belongs to you. Right? So that mindset will come. So automatically these are all different aspects that are being practiced, that are being revealed. Tato dvandva anabhitataha. Then once you get a firm and relaxed posture, just imagine, then what happens? Then you start practicing pranayamam. Tasmin sati swasa prasvasa yoga prasvasayoho gati vichchedaha pranayamaha. Tasmin sati swasa prasvasa yogaha. Tasmin sati swasa prasvasa yoho gati vichchedaha pranayamaha. Once more, tasmin, after that, sati swasa prasvasayoho gati vichchedaha pranayamaha. Swasa prasvasayoho gati vichchedaha pranayamaha. Vichchedaha means to cease to be, okay, to no longer there, absent. Gati vichchedaha is to go towards cessation, to stoppage. Okay, swasa prasvasa yoho, the swasam and prasvasam. That is the exhaling breath and the inhaling breath. Okay, those things must be controlled, must be stopped. Not only controlled, vichchedaha means to stop. Tasmin, after getting after mastering a relaxed but firm posture, and firm means not rigid. Firm means something that does not shake. When you sit in Padmasana posture, and with our back erect and all that, with our head erect and neck erect and all that, then your body should not be tense. It is relaxed, but at the same time, it is not moving. Okay, it is steady. That is what we mean, right? So when it is steady and relaxed and all that, then you start practicing pranayama, which is the stoppage of the exhaling and inhaling breath. Tasmin sati swasa praswasayoho gati vichchedaha pranayama. How to stop it, Swami? What should I do? Should I stop the incoming breath or the outgoing breath, or should I stop it in pathway, partway? And when should I do it? All those things question. Now he answers in the next one. Sutra number 50. Bahya abhyantaha kambha vrittihi desakala samkhyabihi paridrishtaha dirgha sukshmaha. Bahya abhyantaha kambha vrittihi desakala samkhyabihi paridrishtaha dirgha sukshmaha. Once more, bahya, bhagyabhyantaraha, bahya abhya, bahya abhyantaraha, kambha vrittihi desakala samkhyabihi paridrishtaha dirgha sukshmaha. Now, this paridrishtaha is the verb here. That is like vichchedaha. Paridrishtaha means, vichchedaha in the previous sutra means to stop. But to stop it means you're controlling it. Paridrishtaha talks about the controlling aspect of it. How do you control? How do you bear your breath? Even though we all know that the breath, our breath actually bear us, but I must go above that, right? I must, the breathing and itself is an obstacle to achieving moksham. And this beautifully described in the final Mangala Slokam of Sri Rudram. So, how do I control the breath? Paridrishtaha, how can be done? Bahya. It can be done when I'm letting my breath out. Bahya means external. Abhyantaraha. Or when I am inhaling it and taking it in. I can control it, I can stop it when I'm exhaling it. Or abhyantaraha, when I'm taking it in. Or kambha vrittihi, or midway. I can do it right at any point. That whether I'm exhaling or inhaling, midway, I can do it. Desakala samkhyabihi. And desam means its place, kalam, with different time. And samkhyabihi, samkhyate. The meaning is, there is Sankhya Yoga, we say in Bhagavad Gita. It also means when you calculate something, okay, calculated, okay. Asankhya, by Bhagavan we say Asankhya, one of the incalculable. So you can do it at any point in time or at any place, and for any number of times that you want to do. For whatever you calculate, you say, fine, I'm going to hold it for 1 minute or 1 second, or I'm going to do it for 3 breaths. Whatever you want to do. Samkhyabihi, okay, dirgha, it can be done for a long time. You can stop your breath for a long time. Or sukshmaha, you can hold it just for a short time. Okay, you can do any of these things, is what the Rishi, Patanjali Maharishi teaches us. Bahya abhyantaraha kambha vrittihi desakala samkhyabihi paridrishtaha dirgha sukshmaha. The breath can be controlled either when it is external, when it is exhaling it, or internal, when you're inhaling it, or kambha vrittihi, or some in between, at desakala samkhyabihi, at any place, at any time, for any calculated amount of breath, and can be done for a long time. You can control it and stop it for a long time, or for a short time. Bhakya abhyantara kambha vrittihi Detakala samkhyabihi paridrishtaha dirgha sukshmaha. Sutra number 51. Now, there is a fourth kind of pranayama. There are three types of pranayama we mentioned, which is Bhakya, Abhyantara, and Kambhavrittihi. Now, there is a fourth one. Now, the fourth one is whatever object that you concentrate on, right? And right now, we are not concentrating. And ideally, you pick a form that is most pleasing, something that you love, which we call as a form of God, right? God is formless, but we give a form to Him because we love that form. And if I start focusing on the form that I love very much and love it more and more and more, and I concentrate on it, at that time, the breath is stopped. It comes to a stoppage. That is the fourth type that the Rishi is teaching us. Bhakya Abhyantara Vishaya Kshebihi Chaturtaha. Chaturtaha, the fourth type of pranayama. Vishaya Kshebi. Now, Vishaya Akshebi. That Vishayam, the object, Aksham, when you become one with it. Okay, Kshayam, Vishaya Kshebi, not Akshebi. Vishaya Kshebi. When it declines, it disappears. When the object that you're concentrating on, you become one with it. Right? At that time, the Bhakya Abhyantara, the exhaling and the inhaling breath also stop. And that is Chaturtaha. That is the fourth type of pranayama. Next one, 52. Tataha Chiyate Prakasa Avaranam. Tataha Chiyate Prakasa Avaranam. Very important. At that time, what happened? Tataha, at that time, after that, Chiyate disappears, or the Prakasa, the Avaranam Chiyate. Avaranam means it's like an obstructing something, it's like we say it's a screen that is hiding something. Okay, like when you put a piece of cloth over a lamp that is burning, that cloth becomes an avaranam because it's obstructing the light, right? And in our case, we call this as Maya. That's the name that is given by us. And we also say Maya is nothing but a vestige, the cloth that Bhagavan wears over himself. That means the prakasam, the effulgence, the jyoti, the Atma Jyoti that is so shining bright all the time, and that is covered by the cloth of mind, the impurities that is in mind, not by mind, but the impurities in mind. And when the cloth, the avaranam kshiyate, that gets removed, then what happens? Prakasa, the effulgence from within shines. Tataha kshiyate prakasa avaranam. Then because of the Chaturtaha, when the exhaling, inhaling breath becomes still, right? And because you're one with the object you're concentrating and focused on, and that is the stage you're going to describe, Dharanam and Dhyanam and finally Samadhi, that's going to come. And because of that, the covering of my own inner, the effulgence within me, that selfless love that is shining so unconditionally and powerfully, that can overpower everything. There is nothing that is stronger or more powerful than prema. And that is got such a phenomenal effulgence. It's an effulgence that is different from the effulgence of the sun or our electric bulb that we put. No, it is an effulgence that is so pleasing and those powerful. Okay, and that the covering from within gets removed. Kshiyate, avaranam kshiyate. 53. Dharanasu cha yogyata manasaha. Dharanasu, dharanam, that concentration, continuous concentration. And yogyata manasaha, the mind gets dharanasu yogyata. It gets the fitness, the deservedness, the power of concentration. The mind gets the power of concentration. Okay, that's the next step that happens. Then he's going to describe pratyahara. Okay, and swa vishaya samprayoge chitta swarupa anukara iva indriyanam pratyahara. Swa vishaya samprayoge chitta swarupa anukara iva indriyanam pratyahara. Pratyahara, we say loosely, immediately we translate that in English, withdrawing mind from the object. How do you withdraw? Right? Think about it. Okay, what is an object and what is it that is being withdrawn? And who is withdrawing it? So we've got to understand each one with clarity. That is what is describing. Pratyahara. Indriyanam. Indriyanam are the sense objects. The sense objects touch the senses. The Indriyanam are the senses. And the chitta swarupa, the swarupa is very important. Swarupa anukara, swa vishaya samprayoge. Let us look at the vishayam. Vishayam are the objects. The Indriyanam are the senses. Our whole life is spent till maybe starting after some time after birth, because it doesn't start at birth, and is spent on the senses attaching themselves to the corresponding sense object. The indriyas attaching to the vishayas. That's where the whole problem comes in. Right? And the moment I realize, because the Rishi explained to us earlier, both have the same three gunas. It's the gunas that are playing with each other. And I start looking at it, the same tamasic guna in my indriyam, in my sense perception, is going to the tamasic characteristic of the object. I start looking at it like that, the interplay and the consonance and the alignment of what is happening here. Then I begin to go to another level, which is swa vishaya samprayoge. All these objects that I see so differently from me, that I seek and desire, and greed comes and anger comes, all those things comes from there. Actually, they are all swa vishayam only. They are all my own projections. They are no different from me. The moment I realize I am the one who is giving a characteristic to these objects, I am the one who thinks, oh my God, this Mercedes-Benz is very pretty, for example, I want to have it. I am the one who's doing it. Somebody else is not doing it, right? The moment I realize all these are my own projections, they are all swa vishayam, then samprayoge, they actually become one with me. Now, you cannot desire something that you already have, that part of you. I don't desire my little finger, for example. I don't even think about it, right? I don't desire my body. I already have it. I'm attached to it, but I don't desire it. So it is only something that we think is different from us that we always desire and seeking. So the samprayoga takes place, the mind starts thinking like that, then chitta swarupa anukara. The moment the mind starts thinking like that, automatically the anukara means to imitate, right? So if I start practicing, these objects are not really different from me. They are really part of me. They look at the oneness within the object and within me. And then the mind, the chittam, the mind starts following, imitating this kind of, you call it imagination, you call it a conception, because the whole life is nothing but imagination. So whatever you want to call it, this is a practice that can be employed. And when you employ this practice, automatically the mind starts withdrawing, not from the object. The objects are still there. The senses still play with the corresponding object and you still interact with things. You may enjoy a sunset, for example, beautifully. You may enjoy the smell of a rose or look at the beautiful flower bed. The beauty is there. But it is not you stop interacting with the sense object, but you interact them as an agent, not as a trustee, not as a owner of those. You interact them with limitation, and very important, you interact them not with acquisitive desire. Very important. The acquisitive desire comes in, as Bhagavad Gita says in Adhyayam 2. You interact with them. All these are given to us for our enjoyment and pleasure as a trustee and agent, but not to acquire. Right? That the withdrawing from the acquisitive desire of the various objects that we come across and interplay all the time, that is pratyaharam. And the withdrawal of the acquisitive desire takes place when the chitta samprayogaha, when the mind turns to the indweller within, samprayogaha. Automatically all these things move away from you. Okay? And that is pratyaharam, withdrawal of the mind from the sense object. And putting it in a simple way, mind can be withdrawn from the sense object only when the mind is attaching itself to the indweller, Isvara Pranidhanani. The moment the mind turns inward and focuses on the Bhagavan seated within, automatically it withdraws, it detaches itself from the outside sense object. Okay, that is pratyaharam. Sa vishaya samprayogaha chitta swarupa anukara iva indriyanam pratyahara. 55. Now, by turning the mind inwards and focusing it on the Bhagavan seated within, which comes from concentration and all that we saw. That's the next step that's coming in. After purifying oneself, after learning how the posture and start controlling the breath. Automatically with the right posture, the breath will automatically start controlling itself. After all this, I start the pratyaharam, slowly withdrawing and then focusing on that. At that time, what happens? I master control of senses, which is the first step Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita. This instruction he gives to Arjuna. Control your senses, Arjuna. Okay, you got to start with that. So, tataha parama vasyata indriyana. Tataha parama vasyata indriyana. Indriyan, tataha, after that, subsequent to that, indriyanam, all the senses, vasyata, parama vasyata, you become a master controller of the senses. We achieve sense control. Tataha parama vasyata indriyanam. Right now, we are all being pulled by our senses. We don't control them. Right? And whereas if you follow all this, then you become a master or achieve mastery over sense control. Tataha parama vasyata indriyana. With that, we will stop today and take up the next section with Bhagavan's grace in the next session. That this is now 55 Sutras in the second section. And the third section talks about the various powers that get revealed from within, because each one of us have all the powers that there is, right? And the power of the selfless love is within each one of us. As we open up a layer of it, become more and more selfless, more powers from within reveal themselves, okay? And it is not something you acquire from outside. All the forces are within. And how these various powers get revealed, what stages, what happens, that the Rishi is going to describe to us in what we call as the third section. And that with his grace we will take up in our next session, next Sunday. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.